because the same very people that built this country, because the last time I checked, y'all didn't say that anything was wrong with the White House, and I can promise you it was my ancestors that built the White House. So the fact is, stop trying
Lord Jesus, give me strength. Father, help me, Lord. Listen. I'm pausing it right there because listening to her all at one time is just a bit much. It's just a bit much for me. Okay. I don't know about you. Maybe, you were used to growing up with Black women like this around you and you're so numb to it, that, the nail on the chalkboard just perpetual maybe it don't bother you, but it bothers me. Here's how I want to engage with this. First of all, rhetoric like this from Crockett, what this does is it tickles the ear of the victim. Individuals who walk around with a victim mentality that are always constantly pointing the finger at someone else and they need a boogeyman to blame, they love rhetoric like this.
Y'all should see Scott Jennings. Scott, he's part of, I love Scott. Mm-hmm. He's part of CNN. He's a contributor to CNN. He's the Republican strategist on CNN. Anyways, he was talking about DEI. They had a conversation about DEI, and he kind of set these people straight on what the problem is with DEI, because apparently these folks don't understand that it's a failed experiment. Stop doing it. It's not working. No one believes in this anymore.
Shout out to Standard of Truth podcast. She's really funny.
Yeah,
so this is where it came from. I just happened to watch her the other day, and I thought, oh my God,
yeah.
This woman, she never stops talking.
Yeah. All right, let's go.
Today we need to discuss. We are presented again with the annoying, orangutan energy of none other than Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. I have covered this woman in the past, and it just seems as if we can't seem to overcome the perpetual condemnation of America by these leftist, progressive, Marxist, communistic, Black politicians that love emotionally manipulating their constituents into believing that we are perpetual victims. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and share this recent exchange that Jasmine had on CNN with Scott Jennings. And I want to point out something important that I'm hoping one day we can get past this. I don't know if we will, but it's a little piece of advice. And then I'm just going to engage with the foolery as it's presented. So take a listen to this.
Recall a news story from last year. There was some interest in the fire departments and the firefighters in California. And the interest was that there were too many white men who were firefighters, and we need to have a program in California to make sure we don't have enough white men as firefighters. So we have DEI, we have budget cuts, and yet I'm wondering now.
Y'all, out the gate, y'all already see the problem, right? He made one point, one valid point, by the way, and all of the oh my God, he said something that's against what we believe. No, they don't even want to listen.
House was burning down. How much do you care what color the firefighters are?
You can respond and then
Listen, I am so tired. You know what? There was an article that just came out that said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is Black women. So let me be clear. Because you are a woman, or because I know that some of the right has been sharing these photos of the fact that I believe that the fire chief may be a woman or something, that has nothing to do with it. We are looking at qualifications. What diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been about is saying, you know what? Open this up. Don't just look at the white men. Open it up and recognize that other people can be qualified. And the fact that we want to, at a time when people are dying, decide that a country of immigrants is failing or people are dying because the same very people that built this country, because the last time I checked, y'all didn't say that anything was wrong with the White House. And I can promise you it was my ancestors that built the White House. So the fact is, stop trying
Lord Jesus, give me strength. Father, help me, Lord. Listen. I'm pausing it right there because listening to her all at one time is just a bit much. It's just a bit much for me. Okay. I don't know about you. Maybe, you were used to growing up with Black women like this around you and you're so numb to it, that, the nail on the chalkboard just perpetual maybe it don't bother you, but it bothers me. Here's how I want to engage with this. First of all, Rhetoric like this from Crockett, what this does is it tickles the ear of the victim. Individuals who walk around with a victim mentality that are always constantly pointing the finger at someone else and they need a boogeyman to blame. They love rhetoric like this, right? People who are motivated to present their best and who want to earn their way through life, they don't speak like this at all. In fact, listening to people like Jasmine Crockett, when you don't espouse a victim mentality, actually gets on your nerves. What is the point? What is the point she's trying to make, right? She made up 2 points. She brought up the fact of this statistic, right? Of the women who, or the demographic that is the most educated in this country are Black women. I'm like, okay, fine. You want to go there? Let's go there. Now I'm looking at Scott's face. Scott is sitting here like, oh, here we go again. Let me just let her go and get it out. She brings up the Black woman statistic, and then she brings up her ancestors building the White House and don't nobody seem to have a problem with the White House. And I'm like, you know what is your point? Right? They weren't the only ones who built it. So if you want to just glory in the fact that, yes, our ancestors were involved in building the White House, yay, no one is denying that or trying to take that away from them. Quit harping on the past that you did not live or experience, right? They bring up these statistics, and she is actually misrepresenting these statistics, but individuals like her are always quick to bring up slavery and my ancestors died and did this and did that and the third. Listen, slavery had more to do with weakness and vulnerability than it did ethnicity. That's just a fact. It's the same today. We still have modern slaves today. The weak are conquered by the strong. Quit bragging about how your people were oppressed and conquered by their own people and then conquered some more by white Europeans. It's not a flex.
Oh, I love that she said, I love this woman. I watch her.
Yeah, she's great.
I love her.
She's wonderful.
Because first of all, it's rare to find Black women who talk like this. Honestly, you find more Black men who are willing to do a show like this. Yeah. How many times did Danielle and I have to say to you that we were brought over here by Black Africans. Mm-hmm. Black people were sold by their own people to the colonizer and the Arabs. And then we came over here and we were conquered by white people. And then we also bought each other as slaves in America. We're going to talk about Anthony Johnson. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, we think, like she's saying, it's a flex. That our oppression is some sort of flex to white people. It's not. No. There's very few Black women that will be willing to do that.
Yes.
And Jasmine Crockett is the main person I'm talking about, who is educated, and you think she has a right mind because she's not dressed scantily. Mm-hmm. And she's been to college.
Yeah.
And she's a politician. But she will go on and on about this rhetoric, but will never tell you that we don't get married. Mm-hmm. She will never tell you that we have too many kids outside of marriage. She'll never tell you that our educational system sucks because we don't prioritize education in our homes. She'll never tell you that gang violence is the reason why most of these Black people get killed, that we have way too many Black women going to the abortion offices where we're 8% of the population, mm-hmm. but we're a third of the abortions. Mm-hmm. They'll never say that. And so anyway, I'm so happy. I get happy when I hear Black women like this actually talk like they got some sort of sense.
Yeah, it's funny to watch women like this because I'm like, they exist. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes y'all be like, I can't believe Black women who exist and talk like this. Because all Black women are all Democrat, liberal people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, hearing what she's saying is absolutely correct. Our focus is so much on the oppression and the treatment of Black slaves. That we are harping on that story because that story is giving us some type of a
currency.
Yeah, and it's I guess to them it's paid off. It's a way to weaponize it against white people and white people today and say, oh, you did this to us back then. Okay. You're talking about something that you never were and they never did.
I mean, the truth is, Jasmine, is that they did do DEI mm-hmm. and they did get rid of the white men. And California is burning.
Because they opened.
So while she's sitting there, and we're talking about opportunity and people who can do the job, well, they can't do the job.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. Mm-hmm. He is saying that you guys wanted white men out. Mm-hmm. and you put in these lesbians.
Yeah.
And these black women or whatever you want to, put them in there so DEI can be complete.
Right.
And now California is burning.
I know you think that bringing up the fact that you were oppressed and white slave people and white supremacy this, but at this point, they talk about it so much that it actually is very sad. It is sad for you to celebrate cowardice and oppression as if it is a virtue. We were conquered. Okay, great. I don't want to keep reliving that. It's actually quite embarrassing.
We were conquered and so were the Native Americans. Cut it out. Every piece of land in this world was fought over.
Yeah. You know, Booker T. Washington talks about this in Up From Slavery, his book Up From Slavery, that Native Americans at that time actually didn't respect black people because we allowed ourselves to be enslaved. They did not want to associate with us in that way because they have a warrior sense of warrior mentality, so they would much rather just die. It's very interesting to me that we, like she's saying, we kind of do it like it's a flex that we were conquered. You know, the strong will overtake weak people. And unfortunately, in our history, it was black people that were weak.
Yeah.
And that is unfortunate and uncomfortable. I know this is what I'm saying right now to a lot of black liberals that are listening right now. You're going to be upset. Be upset. Go through the feelings, what I'm saying. Because unfortunately, the only people that can be taken over in this world are weak people.
Yeah.
And a weak mind. How they became weak, we can go on and on about that. But I'm saying that just the sheer black and white of all this, it is just the simple fact that they were able to take over a group of people who happen to be Africans. And
easily swayed. And Frank Zanu actually said in one of his videos, he said, you don't think that these people probably went to other parts of the world to see if they could conquer poor people from India or poor, but those areas, a lot of those people commit suicide. And the reason why that's important is because you won't collect a bunch of people that are willing to die through their own infliction. That means that once you get them here, they're just going to kill themselves. That means they're ineffective. But there had to be something with Africans that they felt will endure.
Yeah.
And they took us. And so that makes a lot of sense to me.
The experiment actually worked. They were correct. If that's, well, it's correct. Obviously, we had slavery. Yeah. But, like, there weren't a lot of, like, Nat Turners out there. Who, even with that,
there should be more stories like that.
Yeah, even with that rebellion, it didn't gain a lot of. It didn't. He did what he could with his group of people. I think it was like 80. How many people were there? I think it was like 80 other of his soldiers, I guess you can say. But no one was going to do that. So most of the black slaves at that time were not thinking like him. He wasn't even a percentage. He wasn't even a good percentage of all the. That no one had minds like that. It just wasn't that. So. The uncomfortable this is a conversation that is so uncomfortable for black liberal people who are still in the victimhood state of mind to hear.
Because it's interesting to me when I see people like Jasmine Crockett, because on one end they cower to I'm oppressed, you know what I mean? But on the other end they do it with such smart mouth entitlement. You can't be both. You aren't oppressed, ma'am. You are part of you are the man. You are part of the establishment. You help make laws. It's a contradiction.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's the Crown Act. These things, the George Floyd thing, you know what I mean?
Lynching Act.
And the Lynching Act. And it's just, it's the John Lewis Voting Act. It's like, these are just bull things to keep you always all, messed up and lost.
But when it comes to like DEI, we're doing it again. DEI just started a brand new affirmative action, a new and improved affirmative action. DEI, that's all it is. Affirmative action 2.0. That is what DEI is.
Considering we weren't the only people group who were conquered. The weak are always conquered by the strong. It was just our turn. In that point in time, it was the African slaves' time to be the weak, and they were conquered by someone that was stronger than them, just like the Native Americans had their time of being the weak, conquered by the strong. It is just the way and the circle of life. But this woman thought that it would be an impressive flex to brag about how black women are the most educated. Not mentioning that she's misrepresenting that statistic. Technically, that's not true. If you compare, in comparison to other people groups, no, they are not. The statistic that she's quoting is that Black women are more educated than Black men. And even with all of that education, our outcomes are still trash. So what's the point of you bragging about this? Neither is it a flex to brag about Black women being more educated than their own men, just as much it's not a flex to talk about how your ancestors helped build the White House. Why? Because they were not the only ones. And with all of this education, y'all are the most educated in comparison to your own men. My question is, how is that helping you win? It is not.
When this is another flex of Black women, Black educated, higher education. When I say that, I mean higher education. They try to do this flex on I'm the most educated or that, and what does that mean? Right. Actually, people who do trades and go into trade school for a couple of years, a year or two, or whatever it is, they come out on top making six figures. Right. So it's not a flex to me when Black women say this.
Because what you're saying is DEI is important. So that means you get pushed up to the top of the list. So if all these Black women are getting into college, then is the DEI there too? I'm really so tired of women that have education thinking that education puts you on the top and makes you like the creme de la creme of human beings. Just because you're educated don't mean you're smart.
No.
I see a lot of dumb women going to college. Yeah. They graduate, they get that degree, and it's all ski-wee, and I'm a AKA, and all this, and then what? For what? So you can just be alone, angry, be your Claire Huxtable in your family?
Education does not equal intelligence.
Our communities are still suffering. Our homes are still broken. Our educational outcomes are dismal. And we have no economic prosperity to show for it beyond the present generation. The money, we earn the money and then it dies with us because we ain't together with our men. So you thinking that you can stand on some high horse talking about how educated these Black women are. My question is, you can get a degree, but can you get a husband? And then when you get the husband, can you keep the husband? The way it's looking, no. So Scott Jennings, attempting to be respectful and to keep the focus on the issues, he attempts to give this broad an intelligent response. But it's a complete waste of time. Let's go ahead and take a look.
I'm not. I'm just simply saying that as a matter of public policy in California, the main interest in the fire department lately has been in DEI programming and budget cuts, and now we have this massive fire.
So let me be clear. Because you are a woman, or because I know that some of the right has been sharing these photos of the fact that I believe that the fire chief may be a woman or something, that has nothing to do with it. We are looking at qualifications. What diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been about is saying, you know what? Open this up. Don't just look at the white men. Open it up and recognize that other people can be qualified. And the fact that we want to, at a time when people are dying, decide that a country of immigrants is failing or people are dying because the same very people that built this country, because the last time I checked, y'all didn't say that anything was wrong with the White House. And I can promise you it was my ancestors that built the White House. So listen, if we have been good enough to build this country, we are good enough to serve and die overseas, we are good enough to serve in other ways. And the fact that people actually decide that they want to engage in public service, whether it's sitting in Congress or whether it's serving on the fire department or the police department, should not be an issue. The fact is, stop trying to act as if only white men are the ones that are capable. Because right now you're sitting at a table with three very capable Black women.
I'm not.
She doesn't even make sense. Where you did DEI in California. You got your girl mayor, and you got your lady firefighters, and they didn't respond well at all. They don't even do press well. And so I don't know what she's talking about. She's acting like they're just killing it, but they're not. They're not killing it. The people are dying, but they're not killing it at all. They are making a mess of that state. And they're not, I mean, if you are a woman that wants to be a cop, or you want to be in the military, or you want to be a firefighter, I'm all for it. But you have to do as well as the men. What the men are required to do. If you don't get in with merit, then you have a failing system.
So notice how she never really engages with the substance of the argument, which is An overemphasis of DEI is not helping us because these individuals who we know are in their positions of leadership because of DEI are failing, not because they earned their way on merit and were qualified and they are just down on their luck. That is not what is happening. What is happening is that these leftist progressive policies, which overwhelmingly stress and emphasize diversity, equity, and inclusion, these programs end up costing us in realized and unrealized consequences, because at the end of the day, they are prioritizing the wrong thing and they are majoring in the minors. Actually, they're majoring in the insignificant. It is insignificant that you are a female and you sleep with women. It is no indication that that means you're going to do a good job in your role of leadership. But leftist progressives love using, playing the victim and saying, it's time for other people to sit at the table. No one is ever denying that. And no one is saying that you should be barred entry into positions of leadership unless you are white. No one is saying that, right? What I am noticing is that individuals like Scott Jennings, love him to pieces. I love his very logical and reasoned and measured take on these issues. But these white men, for whatever reason, they have chosen not to go and argue over ethnicity with these women, and I've noticed they will always concede. They will always concede on this issue because people like to see Black folks wagging their finger in the faces of white men. They love seeing it, but do you know who they don't allow to go toe-to-toe with someone like a Jasmine Crockett? People like me. When's the last time you seen a strong Black woman, right, engaging in meaningful dialogue with a strong Black female conservative, right? Like a woman like me who will stand there and look this orangutan in the eye and call her out on her BS. So Scott Jennings, he's attempting to be respectful and to keep this focus on the issues. He's attempting to, but it's a waste of time. Why? Because this woman represents the fruit and the goal of the civil rights movement. When I say that, what do I mean by that? Well, when we just examine the outcomes of the civil rights movement, and if we look at every strategic step that was made in terms of demanding rights and entry into certain spaces, what we've discovered is that the goal of that movement was to ensure that Black, Marxist-minded communists were placed into positions of power in perpetuity. That's what she is. That's what she represents. Every policy she supports proves this to be true. Jasmine is every Generation X auntie or cousin or niece who appears to be smart and assertive, but she's really dumb as a box of rocks. She's not that smart. She's just like these female preachers running around in somebody's pulpit. Everything is fake on them. And then she's just on the mic selling hopium and a promise of a better life, all the while running her majority Black district into the ground, while she enriches herself on the backs of her own people. Her, Maxine Waters, James Clyburn, the late Sheila Jackson Lee. This chick right here is the new school version of those Jerome Crow Negro sellouts. And I have zero respect for her because she knows exactly what Scott Jennings was attempting to say when he's like, listen, I don't even know why you bringing up Black women being educated. And he ain't say nothing like that. What he is saying, they can't have a substantive conversation about the failure of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because then it would implicate themselves in the whole disastrous outcome. What do I mean? Everywhere they rule. And I don't care if this offends people, but somebody has to say it. All of these major inner city municipalities that have Black women at the helm, or other females of other nationalities of origin that are celebrated because they're either lesbian or female or they're trans, all of these cities are run into the ground.
I agree with her in that what they need to have, which they'll never have, is a person like her.
Yeah, no,
on
because
the show.
when Candace Owens was on the Breakfast Club, they all toned themselves down.
Yeah.
They even had that girl that was on with Larry Elder.
Yeah, true.
What's her name? Teslin. She wasn't on that. Mm-hmm. And they were nice to Candace. Mm-hmm. Why?
Yeah.
Why were you nice to Candace but not to Larry Elder? It's because they don't care about disrespecting black men. They call you a coon. But
they're careful with black women.
They're careful with black women.
Yeah, they don't like to do that because their
black women
agenda.
The black women run the
Oh, black women are the black community or the patriarchy. We're the patriarchy. Yeah, we are the patriarchy in the black community, basically. Black women are running the black community right now. And, so that's just, they don't want to, mess up that.
I mean, they have Scott Jennings sitting there with a bunch of black women. Now, you know how that's going to start. First of all, he won't be able to speak because black women will never let you speak. You saw how she talks. The instant they all start talking like they did, when he said what he said, they all blah, 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 blah. You'll never get a chance to talk. And then, he's white, he's conservative, he's straight.
It won't go. It's not going to, nothing's going to, and also it's just really simple that it's just nothing is going to happen with her intellect. Like, she's not going to listen. She won't change. She's going to keep, spewing out all the DEI and socialism and communism stuff. Look, y'all, and socialism is just the gateway to communism. Scott is right in really everything that he says in general about on some of these subjects, but it just seems pointless. They know their audience. It's CNN. They know their audience is Black Girl Magic.
I mean, I love that Vince Everett always says that there's three people that ruin the black community, and that's the black politician, the black pastor, and the black activist.
Yeah.
And I'll add black celebrities.
Yeah.
And they really do contribute to being slavers and keeping black people huddled in this little space of groupthink where you only think one way. You know what I mean? Because she is right. They'll never have anyone like Candace Owens really, her. They'll never have that because, first of all, the idea of facing someone that looks like you and then them not feeling like a victim and knowing we know you know that. They'll crumble. So what they have to do is put a white man who's vulnerable because he is white. And their whole show's based on feelings and, feelings. And they have a black audience and a liberal audience. CNN is all about, that is their audience. That it will never go over anyway, which is why, look, even on Fox News, sometimes I'll watch Fox News every once in a while. And they have that one where there's like 4 women and 1 white man. I'm like, see, like them too.
I like that.
Feminism. If you don't think that's feminism, then you are deluding yourself, even though they're Republican. I know exactly what they're doing. Strong white women. Yeah.
They're trying to push that whole feminism narrative even on that side. See what I'm saying?
I see it all the time.
And so when I see people like this, Jasmine Crockett is just a joke. And people love it. Black liberals, especially black liberal women, love it. Now, if you want to piss me off more than anything, it irks the hell out of me when I see black men condone this and support women like this.
And then Van Jones.
When I see a black man, even in our comments, y'all, okay, come on here and support women that speak like that. It makes me want to pull my hair out. I have a lot of hair. It makes me want to pull my hair out when I see a black man support this crap, because what you're doing is you're weakening yourself as a black man, and all black men really, by supporting that. Okay?
And as a black man, you shouldn't even want to see women in that energy
at all.
That angry, frustrated, feminist, always mad, always trying to stick it to somebody. If you like that in a woman, there is something wrong with you. Even a woman you're not married to. If you champion a woman, like Kathleen Cleaver,
don't do it.
And Nikki Giovanni, rest in peace, she passed away the other day. You know what I mean? But these women that Maxine Waters, if you champion women like this, and you're a black man,
you're part of the problem.
That's weakness.
Yeah, that's a weak black man. You're beta. You're a beta. That's the term that everybody uses.
Over here, letting a woman try to get you a leg up. She's a strong queen.
Yeah.
You know what?
Stop it. Yeah, you guys, this is typical. The Jasmine Crockett's of the world are typical. She's typical. DEI sucks. It's a failed experiment. Stop doing it. Hire more white men.
Yeah. Check out Standard of Proof. I always forget her name. Standard. That's her video because I want people to find.
Yeah.
Standard of Truth podcast.
Standard of Truth. She's great.
Go,
I'll link it below.
Yeah, link it below.
I'll link her.
Go
her
and watch
channel.
her. She's really interesting, and she has a lot of good topics that I watch. But I thought this one was really interesting. That's why I wanted to do a show on it.
Yeah, I know a lot of our conservative black women that watch us are like, I wish it was more conservative black women like you guys that speak normal. And so this is her. She does that. So I will link her whole channel below so you guys can check her out. But yeah, you guys, let us know what you think about all this. We would love to hear your thoughts. And that's it. And we will see you guys next week.